Joining us now, Imran Ahmed. He is the CEO of the Center for Countering Digital Hate, which last year was sued by Elon Musk for publishing research about the spike in hate speech on the X platform after Musk purchased it. A federal judge dismissed that lawsuit. He also just won the Elevate Prize Foundation's annual award, which aims to amplify the work of activists and nonprofit leaders. Imran, thanks for being with us this morning. I want to get into the details of your case and why you think that's important for other people as we move forward with Elon Musk's role so elevated now in the power of X to amplify lies. What do you make of what we're seeing right now just in these last 2.5 weeks since the second Trump administration came into office from Elon Musk?
Well, look, Mr. Musk clearly he's bought his way into the highest echelons of U.S. politics, and it's his right to do so. It's also his right to scrutinize the federal government and its spending. I mean, it's an enormous amount of money that's spent every year, and it should, every dime should be checked because that's taxpayers' money. But at the same time, accountability works both ways. And I think what you saw with Mr. Musk when he sued us, he didn't sue us because our data was wrong. He didn't sue us for defamation. He sued us for the act of doing research. He sued us for the act of accountability. He sued us because he refuses to be transparent with telling us, how do your algorithms work? How do you make content enforcement decisions? How does the advertising work on your platform? Are the adverts appearing next to hate? And when we did that, when we shone a sort of a light on what he was actually doing, held up a mirror to his own platform. Unlike me, when, I don't like what I see in the mirror, I sort of have a shave, maybe have a haircut. He sued the mirror.
So, Imran, there's struck me as a kind of hypocrisy at the moment because you've got this group of young people going around the government trying to go through, as you say, we don't know whether they are just reading the code or potentially rewriting the code in some cases. But Elon Musk is fiercely protective of their secrecy. They've all wiped their social media posts. And when they were named in one publication, Elon Musk went on Twitter and said that's a crime. So transparency and using his army to attack people like you is fine in one direction, but not the other direction.
Well,
I guess that's how it works, right? When you're the general and you've got the army, you do what you want with it.
The average person may call that an act of breathtaking hypocrisy, which at the same time is saying that he wants to hold the government accountable for its spending. Good, it should be held accountable for its spending. And saying that he wants to deploy resources to do that, publicly funded resources to do that. Taxpayers are paying for those people and giving them access to the most privileged spaces in the United States, to the Treasury Department, to all these the access to data about all of us. He's saying you can't even know who they are. That's bananas. That's like something from Russia, where people with balaclavas are walking into the Treasury and saying, give us access to all of your data. You can't know who we are. And of course, that's the miracle of the US system. There is no locus, there's no point of power in the US system that doesn't have checks and balances on it. That's the great experiment of America. Can we have a system in which power is so sort of spread across so many spaces in which they're all checking each other? Without transparency and accountability, democracy dies. And I think that the problem that Mr. Musk has is that both when it comes to his platform and being held accountable, when it comes to his actions in government, now saying you can't even know the names of the people who are deciding whether or not you're able to access Medicare, whether or not you're going to get a program that might be essential for your life, he's saying that you can't be told who those people are. And that, to me, would be breathtakingly hypocritical. And that's why it's ever more important for a strong civil society, for journalists to have the power to ask tough questions and get access to information about who's doing what, when, where, to whom.
I think what we were talking about during the commercial is just the echo chamber that Musk has control over now on X. It's a place where you can see mis and disinformation spread instantly, but it's also a platform that, especially in this town, for policymakers, lawmakers, folks who are in the White House, it really is a dominant structure. But I think it's important for us to put into context how big or rather small X actually is, and yet the influence that it's able to wield and why.
Well, it holds its influence. It's a tiny platform. Compared to Facebook, it's 1/20th the size. It's tiny compared to TikTok or to Instagram. Its power comes in who uses it. And the fact that its algorithm is particularly effective at holding the attention of politicians, of journalists who treat it like it's the real world. And because if you treat something like it's the real world, it becomes the real world. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So X's power is in the belief that it gives you a sense of what people are really thinking. Now, when people start leaving that platform, you find that effect start to diminish. And what we're seeing at the moment is in a bunch of Jewish leaders have just called for people to leave X because of the anti-Semitism on there. In our research, the research that we got sued for, what we found was that after he took over the platform, there was a tripling in the volume of hate speech against black people. There was a massive increase in hate against Jewish people. And I think those Jewish leaders are saying, we know what the normalization of hatred against Jews and the lies that underpin hatred against Jews, whether it's the blood libel 2,000 years ago, it's the protocols that informed Hitler, or today's great replacement theory, they know that the normalization of that kind of hatred anywhere is a toxic cancer that leads to violence and terrible things. And we Europeans know that better than anyone else.